So welcome back to Mission Makers, day 3 of Amsterdam Dance Event, and we are absolutely delighted to be joined by Eelko van Kooten, the founder of Spinnin Records, who's also up to some very, very interesting stuff that we're going to dive into today on the podcast. So welcome. How's your
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Absolute pleasure. How's your ADE been so far?
Yeah, some panels, some parties. So yeah, it's looking good. And the vibe in Amsterdam is really amazing. So yeah, we are very lucky to have so much international interest in Amsterdam at the moment. It's really great to be here. Thank you.
Have you been coming to ADE since the beginning?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, I think, so when was that? 2009 or something? Yeah, so I go a long way. No, even before 98, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and it was always, funded by Buma Stemra, that's the Copyright Society, and neighboring rights Sena, to promote Dutch artists to internationally to promote the artists. But now you see so much interest coming around the world, and it's the biggest music convention. So yeah, it's really great for Holland, for Amsterdam specifically.
Yeah, you can really see how much the government also probably supports the whole thing. Is, when you land from the airport, there's ADE signage everywhere, which it's amazing. So you grew up with a successful DJ as a father, and he was also a label owner and a publisher, and your mother was an entrepreneur. So this must have been both inspiring and also quite formative in your life. So on a deeper level, what sort of really impacted you the most from their journeys, and how did that experience shape your path in life?
Yeah, well, if you have parents and they are entrepreneurial, then yeah, you grow up with, sometimes things go good and sometimes things are not going so good. So, but at least you can, I grew up with them working hard, and I saw that from an early phase, and that was something I really wanted to do myself as well. Yeah. When I was at school, I was not so good at school, so every year I doubled. But once I started working and as a trainee in companies, then I thought, okay, this is really nice, to work and with people. I like that as well. I learned from them being your own success and working hard, and that's what I wanted to do myself. So
yeah, I mean, it's interesting you touch upon school not being resonant for you, right? But it doesn't matter whether schools is impacting you or not, because if you find your passion, then you will sort of go out and work for it.
The problem is with schools, you don't know what your ambition or your talent is. You don't learn that at school. You only read the books, and you're asked for, and you get a degree for the books you read, but that has nothing to do with what the talent is yourself or how much ambition you have. And I saw, with 2 ambitious parents, that's something I had myself as well. And I wanted to grow that ambition and the talent.
Absolutely. I think at school you just learn how to memorize, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, in our research for this interview, we love to actually kind of go a bit deeper into the meaning of our guest name. So have you ever looked into that yourself? The meaning of your name?
Eelko. No, it's a very typical Fries name from the north of Holland. Yeah. You only hear it in Holland. It's a very typical Dutch name. So, my father was in the music business as well, and there was a guitar player named Eelko, and I was called after him. That's what I understand. That's what I heard. But it doesn't mean anything. It's just a name.
Okay. Well, we found out that it does mean something. Oh. So maybe this is the light bulb moment. But we saw that it is a Dutch, of course, it's a Dutch name, and that it means it has values of honor, dignity, and noble leadership. Whenever we sort of look up the meaning of our guest name, we always find somehow that there's a very serendipitous connection somehow to what they have gone on to achieve in life.
Yeah. I think that really fits what you're saying. Leadership. Yeah. I wanted to be running a business, and then all of a sudden you are the leader because you're the boss. And it turned out that I did a great job. I had 90 people just before I sold it, on the music publishing, on the record label, and on the management. That's quite a lot of people, especially young people. I like that, to work with, talented artists, but also my team of people was very talented. And I just like on artists, you help them grow in their talent and in their ambition. The same I did also with my team. So I had a very dedicated team who worked for me for a very long time, and I was really proud of that. You know, that they stick all the way until the end. Because if you work closely with talented people, like my team, then and you let them grow in their function or in what they do, and you help them to develop themselves, then you get a lot of loyalty back. Not a lot of leaders or managers understand that. And I was really proud of that, you know, that I had a core team of 50 people who worked many, many years for me. I was really proud of that. That was a big contribution to my career, I would say.
Absolutely. I think like whether you're a startup founder or you're, you know, a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, I think the one common pain point that every CEO or founder faces is retaining top talent, because it's incredibly tough to motivate people to stay. You know, when the competitor comes knocking on the door and they offer you more money or better perks, you know, it's really about the culture that defines why somebody wants to stay. And yeah, you've done a absolutely phenomenal job, right? And I know you're obviously up to other things now, but I think we have to talk about Spinning Records, because that is, of course.
So that core team, you know, I was really proud of that. They were working for me for so many years, and they sticked with me, you know, for that long. And also that, you know, people come in a company and then because of you know the function that you are looking for, but if you help to develop them and let them grow, so they start working on different functions in the company, then that motivates them, you know, and that brings back a lot of loyalty, like I said. So it's not always about the money, but it's also about fun and also about developing the talent. Same on artists, you know. If you can learn people every time, you know, then they stay with you because they keep on learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's harder in today's world because I think it's not so traditional now to stay with one company, right? And serve that company.
Yeah,
for the
that's
rest
very
of
common now that you job hop, you know, and that it's cool to say, oh, I got a new job. But, you know, 5 or 10 years ago, it was a little bit different. 2012, you know, that time was hard to find a nice job, you know. So that was more the market for companies, you know, that they could say, okay, make the terms, rather than now the employee is making the terms, you know.
Yeah, so true, eh? And so let's go into Spinning Records, because you know, it's obviously been a powerhouse. It's been at the forefront of electronic music for decades. It's defined so many careers. It's defined you know, the sounds and genres, and it's just played such a pivotal role in breaking through artists like Martin Garrix, distributing huge hits like Take Over Control by Afrojack, you know, being part of that EDM boom in the 2010. That must have been what a, you know, decade to be involved behind the scenes, and then you sold the label, and it was quite a famous you know, quite a famous thing, because it was in 2017 for $100 million, which is obviously it's not a drop in the ocean. And then you moved on to disrupt the industry with other ventures. And so when you look back on all of that, and you know, obviously we're here at ADE, largest music conference for electronic music gatherings in the world. I mean, what was the most pivotal moment that actually defined your vision, you know, for Spinning Records?
Yeah, when we started out in 99, first I had a music publishing company called Music All Stars, who I started in 98, because when you start a record label, you need content, you need music. So first I had a publishing company, I signed a lot of writers, and out of that, you know, we had a lot of records. Normally it goes to other labels, but I thought the ambition was with Spinning that for also my writers, my own writers, that I could do a better job for them, to promote the records better, to make the records better in a very innovative way. So that was my ambition, to start off Spinning Records by saying to myself, okay, let's do a better job for my writers.
Amazing. And so, you know, back then, like, what did success mean to you then, and what does it mean to you now, today?
Yeah, then when we started out, I had already a job, working hard for the publishing company. So I started with the first hire, Roger. So he was not the founder, but he was the first hire. And then, you know, we started with First Choice, the player, a cool record, disco record. with Oliver Sosky remix. That was the first record, and we sold instant 15,000 vinyls. So we sold hundred thousands of vinyl. That was the first year where DJs were still, with a DJ bag with white labels and playing on vinyl, which was really amazing. But that was a whole different approach of marketing and promoting records, where you first put out a white label, with a sticker on it. And nobody knows what the DJ is playing, but the DJ knows. And then we were getting the DJ feedback, and that was something we collected and we sent out to record stores and to radio, and then they started to promote the records on a more broadened way than just in the clubs. And so that's when we started out, just by putting records out and promote it in a better way. That was the first couple of years. And then the trance music came big time in the UK, and especially on the Dutch vinyl. That was in the UK, it was something cool if records like Ferry Corsten, if they were played in the UK, where you had Positiva and they put out, King of My Castle and Ferry Corsten, Armin van Buuren, the records. So that was really trance at that time. And we were the producers, they made their records at home in their home computers with speakers and a mixing table. At that time, the computers were not so quick as they are now. So for England, for the Radio 1, you needed to have a top line, because then you can sing along and it's more recognizable. And that was something of the BBC that set the standard. So we were taking songwriters from England to sign top lines, or even they signed instrumental records from Chocolate Puma, where the English label put top lines on it. So that was the first couple of years for Spinnin Records, just by putting great records out and getting played by Radio 538, the market leader radio, or by the BBC, Radio 1, Judge Jules and Pete Tong. Great times, and then we traveled to Miami to find these records and talk with A&Rs and promoting it. But then the music industry, so first we had vinyl, and then we sold CD single and the CD. So then that was a different way of promoting again, with a lot of sub-licensing. That if you had a record which was popular in the UK, you could sign it to a UK label. They put a top line on it, and then they brought it to the BBC, because at that time when DJs were playing already a record, there was already some exposure in the UK. So that was making the record labels in the UK a little bit easier to promote a record to radio. And after the CD, then we came to the iTunes and downloads. And internet was coming up. And for us, the end of the 2000s, internet was a problem for the major record labels and also Hollywood, because they lost a lot of money, by copying CDs or Casa or Napster on the internet, by downloading tracks without getting paid. So that was hard times for the big music industry. In 2012, EMI even went bankrupt, for example. It's not so long ago. That was because of the piracy.
I think a lot of people didn't take it so seriously.
No,
what was about to happen.
Exactly. Where we thought, okay, we don't sell records in Russia or in South America, but through internet you can create an audience, a fan base. Rather than a newsletter, then you have Facebook or at that time, or Hives in Holland, where you could say and promote your music, not only through the clubs and through radio, but also on the internet. So for the major record labels, that was hurting times, very hard times, and they saw internet as an enemy, where we thought, okay, an opportunity. Hey, we can reach audience, which normally you don't reach. So, and YouTube came up, so we had the biggest music label and partner channel of all genres on YouTube. Just because we have a lot of subscribers in Mexico, we didn't sell any records, but at least we could reach the audience through YouTube, and out of YouTube you can get a little bit of money as long as there's sponsoring or advertising. So I think the moment for us when we could make the difference was that we embraced internet to promote the records and to get engagement. So at that time, in the middle of the 2000s, we thought, okay, let's claim, Spinnin Records to be the Motown of the dance music. So on the internet, if you go search, with Casa and Napster, then every time you see a different website or to find the right records internationally. So we thought, okay, why not be a trendsetter and bring new artist names, so that if they look on the internet 4 times, 3 times they come to Spinning. So we should be the safe haven for the dance music lovers on the internet. And that's what we were building at that time. So if that's all about engagement. So if you put out the records at the same time, at the same volume, if you promote about it and you bring new artists, they don't want to miss out. So then you create engagement because they want to follow you. So that's, I think, that's for me the success of Spinning, that we embraced the internet and we were the safe haven for dance music lovers, that they were always ahead of the trend for the new upcoming DJ or the new upcoming dance style of music.
And what does success mean to you today?
The success is, I walk today in Amsterdam, that you see that the dance music and the music industry is very alive, although with all the struggles, Spotify is dominating, and it's very hard for independent artists to get a career, get a release out, get exposure. So that's very challenging. So I'm not talking about the big record labels, they do well and they make tons of money because of ABBA's and the Beatles, of old back catalog. They make too much money out of that, so they don't invest too much in new artists, unfortunate. They should do that more. So, but it's good to see in Amsterdam, and that's my success today, what I experience, is that it's very vital. People like 10, 15 years ago, people are out here, want to learn, go to the panels, and want to learn to create a label or a publisher or manager or an artist or producer, and be out there and talk with each other about the things they are doing, and they want to improve. So, and that's a few years ago, it was a little bit low, less audience in Amsterdam, but now it's very, very alive, and a lot of things is happening. Small parties, big parties. Every hotel is involved in Amsterdam. Yeah, you land on Schiphol and you see ADE. So this is good for Holland, of course, and the Dutch music industry in Holland and international. But it's also good to see that still so many people are involved with the music and the music industry. So that's my success of today.
Nice,
to see
nice.
that.
To make such a big impact on the industry, absolutely. And you've obviously, we've touched upon the teams aspect, but you've obviously also nurtured a lot of talent. So I think it's fair to say you do have an eye for spotting talent. So what does Eelko ask in a job interview? What are the things that you can tell in somebody when you meet them for the first time that this person is here to stay, is going to help you?
Yeah, you can see on an application, what people have learned, degrees and their life experience. But if you are sitting in opposite of someone, or even shake hands, that's the first contact, 5 minutes, you feel already, hey, this is someone, or this is ambition, and then you start talking along, and then you get your intuition confirmed. If you get a firm hand or a loose hand, that says a lot about someone. I would say, but so that's the thing I learn. And then when you start working with someone, then you see if they're really talented or if they're really ambitious. So you cannot see that from paper, to be honest. It can look very nice, but it's not always what people write down or what it is as a person. You don't see someone who is very talented or is social, connected. You don't read that on paper. Through the lines you can notice a few things, if it's a job hopper, or if it's firm, or if it's a manager, or if someone was working for a company for a long time and made steps in the career in that company, that you can see. But talent or ambition, that's something you experience when you start working with someone.
And do you think it's the same sort of markers for as well, like artists as well, when you're
same on artists?
Artists, yeah.
Because if the first time you see an artist, a producer, and you go through his music, maybe he made the 30 tracks the last 3 months, or he did it in 4 years. And if he made 30 tracks in 3 months, that shows that he's really ambitious.
Of course.
But then you start working with him, and then if you see that he can make another 30 tracks, because not every track is a release.
Yeah, of course.
You have to make 30 tracks to get maybe one release
100%.
finished and ready to go out. So, and the more the better. So, and that's something where you can see, okay, this guy is ambitious. And then talented is, if he does that, if he makes the 30 tracks in 3 months, and if he's ambitious to work also on the marketing of himself as a person, or if he's learning or taking tips, and then the talent, for me, like Martin Garrix or Afrojack, it's not only about making the music, but also who they are. Because a great producer, you need to show, you need to give a show, on stage. So most of the producers are not really great artists, but they become an artist because they have success with the tracks they produce. So that's something different, and not every artist is a great live performer. I think even like on Avicii, he was struggling with that. That he was a great producer, but all of a sudden he could make a lot of money by performing as a DJ. But he'd rather was staying in the studio. So that's a good example. And others are better artists on stage than producers. Like. Certain famous DJs, they don't make their records, or pop artists, which is really fine, or but at least they know what they want to release, or what the producers need to make for them, So they they steer and give some guidance on the tracks they want to have released.
Yeah, I think it's always a difficult. What are you first? Are you the DJ? Do you enter in as a DJ first? And of course, your talent is reading a room and having exceptional taste in music selection. But then, of course, now the industry's just put that enormous pressure on. You have to be a producer as well.
And I think to come back to talent and ambition, you need to have both to make a chance for a successful career, to be honest. Because, and I learned that also with producers. We had Julian Jordan, for example, and Martin Garrix. We signed both artists at the same time. And Martin Garrix was visiting our office 3-4 times a week, and playing new tracks to the A&R Jorn. Because, he was so ambitious, and he traveled by train, so that you have to work hard for that. Where Julian Jordan, he was the guy who made 30 tracks in 3 years, and he didn't want to make a lot of music. He made one track and he said to Jorn, okay, this is the new release, where Jorn said, oh, but it's not fine for us yet. So he was not working so hard. And if you look at both careers, that is making the difference between those two producers.
And you've obviously been instrumental in shaping so many hit records, number one records. I tried to research exactly how many number one records, and I couldn't find out. So I don't know if you know the number, but too many to count, of course. So is there are there a certain set of ingredients or a quality, a feeling that you feel? Yeah,
it's like look at yourself, and the music what you like. So. A track like Ed Sheeran, you like a certain track of Ed Sheeran, so that's emotion why you like the track, because it's but then if you analyze it on the mathematics side, why do you like the track? Is the intro, is it the vocal hook line, the instrumental hook line, the break after 2 minutes? So it's like mathematics. That's how I say sometimes that the build-up of a song, of a track, with an intro, outro, a double recognition, because a strong melody line in a track is, if you add a strong vocal hook line, you have double recognition.
Yeah.
And if you use samples of a cover, that's also recognition. So a young new artist breaking is very tough, but if you do it with a cover version or a sample, at least people know the song, and then they start recognizing the DJ, or the artist.
Yeah.
So these are the tricks, like an intro, like ABBA, for example, that's a great example, or Ed Sheeran. If you listen to the first 3 seconds of a track of Ed Sheeran or ABBA, you recognize instantly the artist and the title.
Yeah.
So that's the signature, more or less. Like Rolling Stones, you hear 3 seconds, and it's the Stones, and the title. So if you take that back to the dance music or pop music in general, that's people are listening to the radio and instant they know which track it is. So you need to stand out. Like Coldplay, Chris Martin, he's a great singer. he's not the best singer, to be honest, but he has character. So you know, okay, that's Coldplay, that's Chris Martin. So sometimes that it's beautiful, for example, that it has to be character. It needs to have character and stand out from the crowd. Same on scoring a number one hit. In England, for example, if you have a number one hit like with Oliver Heldens' Gecko, it was a great record. That record, first we had Animals, number one, then Some Felt with Show Me Love, and then we had Gecko, number one. Those three records, or I think it was Oliver Heldens and then Some Felt. So in 12 months, we had 3 records, number one, and all 3 records are a different genre. What I am trying to say is that if you want to have a number one record, you need to be different than what is already there.
If you want to hear the rest of our conversation, then head over to Spotify, Apple, or wherever else you get your podcasts.